I remember the first night clearly, though I wish I didn't. The fog had rolled in thick over the forest, curling around the skeletal branches like restless spirits. A single pale lantern swung from a crooked post, casting trembling shadows across the empty path. Silence had a weight here, heavy and almost tangible, broken only by the faint rustle of leaves. Or was it footsteps? I could hear my own breath, shallow and uneven, mixing with the distant, almost musical hum of something alive. Every shadow seemed to stretch longer than it should, twisting like it had a mind of its own. I told myself it was just my imagination, but the deeper I walked, the more the forest seemed to close in around me, hiding eyes in every corner. That's when I saw it, a pair of eyes reflecting a light that shouldn't exist, staring at me from just beyond the fog. The trail begins quietly, swallowed by fog. Twisted oaks lean over, their roots tangled like knotted fingers. Cold seeps into my shoes, through the soles, up my legs. A whisper drifts between the trees. Soft, faint, almost like the echo of my own thoughts. I stop. The whisper pauses too. The fog curls at the edges of the path. Shadows stretch unnaturally in the lantern light. Something moved there. I think I saw it out of the corner of my eye. A shoe lies on the ground, worn leather, cracked and dusty. No one nearby, just the whisper lingering. The air tastes of damp earth. Every breath pulls it deeper into my chest. I hear the whisper again, closer this time. The lantern swings. Shadows bend with it. The wind is still. I take a step. The whisper follows. I pause. It stops. I breathe. It starts again. Branches scrape softly overhead. A shape flickers at the edge of my vision. Gone before I turn. The path narrows. Roots catch my foot. I kneel, brushing mud from my fingers. The whisper hums low, urgent. The fog thickens, pressing in from all sides. Shapes shift in the gray, twisting just beyond clarity. The lantern's glow struggles to reach the ground. I hear footsteps, not mine, but light, deliberate. They echo behind me, then fall silent. I know I am being watched. A sudden chill makes my skin crawl. I won't look back. I don't. The air smells faintly of smoke. Old smoke. Forgotten fires. I sense someone or something has been here long ago. I press forward. Curiosity is louder than fear. The path coils like a snake, leading deeper. The whisper grows, almost intelligible. A branch snaps. The fog shivers. The lantern tilts as if touched by invisible hands. I pause again. The whisper is now a breath, brushing my ear. I feel it, not hear it. Shadows stretch toward me, merging with the gray. Something presses at the edge of thought. I am small in the forest. I see the shoe again. It feels like a warning. I keep moving. The fog thickens. Each step pulls me further from the world I knew. The whisper lingers, patient, waiting. The path twists, hidden in mist. Shapes coil in the corners of sight. I hear the soft, uneven heartbeat of the forest around me. The whisper fades as I walk. Silence returns, but not the kind of peace I expect. The chill remains, threading through my bones. I stop at a fork in the trail. The fog swirls between the two paths. Neither seems safe. The lantern sways. Shadows bend. The whisper waits. I step forward. The trail seems endless. And somewhere, deep in the fog, I feel eyes on me. The creek runs quietly, frozen over. A thin layer of ice glints under the weak moonlight. The air smells of damp wood, cold stone, and time left alone. Ahead, a cabin rests at the edge of the frozen water. Windows cracked like empty eyes stare back. The boards sag, groaning under their own weight. I approach slowly. Each step crunches in frost. A wind drifts through the trees, but it carries a low growl, not from any animal I know. The door is ajar. A smell of damp rot, and old smoke drifts out. Inside, shadows stretch across the walls, warped and strange. Notes are scattered on the floor, yellowed and brittle. Photographs pressed into old frames tell faces I don't recognize. A story is here, someone who vanished long ago, but the ending is missing. The walls are scarred with deep scratches. Jagged lines that seem deliberate, angry, or pleading. I press my hand to the wood. It feels cold, trembling beneath my palm, as if the cabin itself is alive. The windows rattle in the still air. Shadows twitch along the corners. I feel watched, though no one moves. A floorboard creaks behind me. I don't turn. The air hums low, heavy, expectant. The photographs seem to shift when I glance away. Eyes that were downcast now peer at me from the fog of memory. A soft rustle, fabric brushing against floor, echoes quietly. I step deeper inside. The growl rises, almost a whisper. It vibrates through the floor into my chest, into my bones. The notes flutter as though touched by an invisible hand. Words half-read burn themselves into my memory. A name, a date, a warning I almost understand. Outside, the creek is still. The moonlight catches the frost, cold and pale. Inside, the cabin feels suffocating, holding its breath. The scratches on the walls seem to pulse in rhythm with the wind. Or maybe with me. I cannot tell. A photograph slides from the table, landing face down. I bend to see it, then pause. The face is blurred, but I feel its eyes on me. A whisper brushes my ear. So soft, I might imagine it. Yet the hairs on my neck rise. The air thickens with damp, with stories unfinished. I realize the cabin is not empty. It never was. I back away slowly, careful not to disturb the silence further. The growl fades, replaced by the gentle drip of melting ice outside. The shadows recede slightly, though they do not disappear. I step outside. The frost crunches under my boots. The creek glimmers pale in the moonlight. The cabin waits, silent, patient, holding its secrets for the next curious visitor. Fog drifts low across the forest floor. It clings to my boots, curling around roots and rocks. The air is damp, tasting faintly of earth and cold water. I move carefully, each step swallowed by mist. Branches scrape softly overhead. Every tree seems to twitch, as if sensing me. Then footsteps, soft, matching mine, slower, deliberate. I stop, they stop, I breathe, they begin again, keeping pace. A fleeting silhouette flickers between the trunks, gone before I can turn. The fog swallows it, leaving only uncertainty. Shadows bend where they shouldn't. The forest exhales silently, pressing close. Every sense tells me something is watching. The footsteps continue, patient, circling. I try to call out, but my voice is swallowed. Only the rhythm of my own heart answers back. A twig snaps. Something shifts behind me. Closer. I strain my eyes through the mist. A shape dances at the corner of sight. Gone again when I turn. The cold presses against my skin. Fingers of frost crawl along my neck and arms. The footsteps echo in the distance, or maybe beside me. The fog thickens, damp and silent. The forest hums quietly, expectant. Shadows coil around tree trunks. Watching, waiting. I take a step forward. Another follows. The pattern is deliberate, taunting. I feel eyes, hundreds of them, tracking every movement. They do not blink. They do not waver. The air smells of wet pine and something else, faintly metallic, faintly old. I can almost taste the cold fear in my mouth. The mist curls, twisting like smoke around the trees. The footsteps slow, then stop. I stop too. Silence. But it is not calm. It is heavy, waiting, almost sentient. A flicker at the edge of vision. I see movement, small and deliberate. Then nothing. I keep walking. The footsteps do not resume, yet I feel them behind me, matching my pace, anticipating my turns. The fog grows thicker, more oppressive. The forest feels alive, leaning in, listening. Every breath tastes of damp earth and anticipation. I pause at a hollowed root. The mist swirls around it, hiding shapes beneath. A shadow darts. My heartbeat skips. The path disappears into the gray. I take another step, the echo of my own footfall trembling in the quiet. I am not alone. The forest watches. The fog watches. And I am trapped between each whispered breath and every unseen footstep. Night drapes itself over the forest. Fog coils between the trees, thick and damp. The air is still, too still. Then a howl, distant, piercing. It stretches unnaturally, lingering in the hush of night. The trees shiver, though the wind does not move. Shadows stretch long and thin, reaching toward me. The howl comes again, closer this time, wrapping around the fog. I stop, heart thudding. Something stirs in the underbrush. A branch cracks softly, too deliberate to be random. The shadows bend toward me, folding into the fog. Each note of the howl presses against my chest. It is directed, personal, knowing. The forest feels alive, waiting. Every leaf, every root seems to tremble in response. I sense movement, deliberate, unseen. A chill creeps along my spine. The fog thickens, curling around my boots. I hear whispers, layered under the howl, unintelligible but urgent. Something brushes past the edge of my vision, gone before I can focus. Yet I feel its gaze, sharp and patient. The howl repeats, closer still. It vibrates through the ground, into the soles of my feet. Shadows twist unnaturally, converging then retreating. I take a careful step forward. The sound follows. Every instinct screams to run. I cannot. The air tastes of cold iron and wet soil. A soft hum vibrates through the trees, harmonizing with the howl. The forest exhales slowly, deliberately. A flicker of movement among the branches. The fog ripples around it. It is waiting, always waiting. The howl crescendos, then stops abruptly. Silence presses in, thick and suffocating. The shadows linger, coiled, patient. I move again, cautious, tentative. Each step is mirrored by a shifting darkness behind me. The forest does not forget. The pale howl echoes once more, faint now, fading into the distance. Yet its memory lingers in the fog, a reminder that I am never truly alone. I keep walking. The mist clings. Shadows stretch. The night listens. The forest opens slightly, a small clearing before me. In the center, a circle of blackened stones marks an old campfire. Cold, hollow, forgotten. Around it, scattered items lie half buried in frost and dirt. Cups, torn clothing, a small notebook, relics of people long vanished. I bend to pick up the notebook. Its pages smell of damp earth and memory. The fog drifts low, curling around my ankles. I hear movement in the underbrush, soft, deliberate. The forest hums, quietly, expectantly. Shadows flicker between the trees. Each one is small, fleeting, gone before I can focus. I feel their eyes, countless, patient, waiting. The wind whispers faintly, not through the leaves, but around them, carrying low murmurs I almost understand. A chill seeps into my bones. The campfire stones are hollowed, blackened from old flames. I press a hand to the cold rock. It hums faintly beneath my palm, like a heartbeat. A movement catches the corner of my eye. Branches twitch. Nothing emerges. I step cautiously around the fire. The torn clothing shifts slightly. A soft rustle follows me, always just behind. The notebook opens to a page I hadn't noticed. Faded handwriting curls across the paper. Names, dates, a warning I cannot fully read. The forest seems to lean closer as I glance down. Flickers of movement appear between the trees. Not shadows exactly, but shapes that twist and vanish. The fog thickens, carrying the scent of damp pine and old smoke. I crouch by the stones, listening. The hum of the forest grows louder, almost resonant. Something moves nearer. A twig snaps sharply. The shapes freeze. The notebook slips from my hands. Silence swallows the clearing. The fog presses in from all sides, muffling even my own breath. I feel the weight of unseen eyes, patient and unyielding. The wind carries a faint, almost human sigh. I cannot see its source. I do not want to. I stand slowly, stepping away from the campfire. The scattered items remain, frozen in time, untouched. The clearing holds its breath, watching. I move toward the trees. Every footstep echoes too loudly. The forest hums softly, following me with unseen fingers. The campfire lies cold behind me, its black stones hollow, a reminder of those who came before. The fog curls around my legs, as I vanish into the trees. The forest closes in around me. Fog drifts low, curling around my boots and through the roots. Every sound is magnified. The snap of a twig, the rustle of dead leaves. Then I see them, two glowing eyes at the tree-line, unmoving, pale, unsettling. They blink, in perfect sync with my heartbeat. Every instinct screams to run. I cannot. The shadows deepen around them, thickening in the fog. Branches crack softly, yet no shape moves. The eyes remain unblinking now, fixed and patient. The air tastes of cold iron and damp pine. I try to breathe quietly, but it comes out sharp, loud, intrusive. The forest seems aware of every exhale. A rustle in the underbrush. A branch bends as if something passed through it. I strain to see, but the fog swallows every form. The eyes follow, not moving, yet everywhere. They pierce the fog, reaching into me. I take a hesitant step back. They do not flinch. A heartbeat passes. Another. The ground feels soft beneath my feet, almost breathing. A low hum vibrates through the fog, through the soil. It is subtle, but it presses against my chest. I hear nothing else. No animals. No wind. Only the watchful eyes and my pulse thudding too loudly. Suddenly they vanish. The fog swirls, empty now. Branches hang motionless, roots still beneath frost. Silence settles, thick and heavy. Yet I feel the gaze linger, brushing along my spine. Every step forward carries it with me. I move cautiously. The fog clings tighter. The forest exhales around me. The eyes may be gone, but I know they are still there, watching, waiting. The trees bend around me. Shadows stretch long and wrong, twisting toward me. The fog clings to my legs, damp and heavy. The ground feels alive beneath my boots. Roots shift, leaves crunch under invisible weight. Every step echoes in the still air. A shape darts behind the pines, gone before I can look directly. The forest seems to pulse around me, aware. Whispers layer over the wind, indistinct, urgent. I cannot understand the words, but they press against my mind. The lantern light flickers. Though the air is still, shadows bend unnaturally toward it. I take a step forward. They recoil slightly, then stretch again. A branch snaps. Something moves in response. Slower, deliberate. I freeze. The fog swirls, hiding and revealing shapes in turn. The whispers rise. Soft footsteps echo, but not mine. They circle. I try to follow, but the forest hides its secrets. A low hum vibrates through the ground. The shadows sway in time with it. Something brushes past me. Quick, almost gentle. Then nothing. The fog thickens, pressing against my chest. The forest exhales. I feel the weight of unseen eyes, patient and probing. Shadows twist across the trees, bending against logic. The air tastes faintly of damp earth and something older, metallic. I take another step. The shadows reach, then recede. A fleeting shape moves again. I think I see a face or something like it, but it vanishes before I blink. The whispers press closer, layering with the hum. Panic rises, but escape feels impossible. The fog coils around my legs. Roots snag my boots. Every direction feels wrong, yet I keep moving. The shadows retreat slightly as I pass, but the whispers remain. The hum persists. The forest watches. I step forward into deeper mist. The shapes flicker between clarity and shadow. I feel them everywhere, yet cannot name them. The path winds onward. The whispers fade just enough to leave me trembling in the silence. But the unease lingers, tight, cold, unrelenting. The forest opens into a clearing. Empty, silent. Fog snakes along the ground, curling around gnarled roots and stones. In the center, a single decaying tree rises. Its branches reach outward like brittle fingers. Hollow spaces in its trunk seem to whisper secrets as the wind threads through them. Footsteps echo behind me. Soft, careful. I spin, but no one is there. The mist coils between trees, thickening with each breath I take. It smells faintly of wet earth and something older, something forgotten. I move closer to the tree. The hollowed trunk seems to swallow light. Shadows coil inside, shifting with impossible intent. A low hum vibrates through the ground. It reverberates into my bones, quiet but insistent. I feel eyes everywhere, watching. A branch snaps far behind me. I do not turn. I cannot. The fog twists around my legs. Shapes flicker in the gray, always just beyond the edge of sight. I sense something moving deliberately between the trees. The forest feels heavy, pressing down. Each inhale tastes faintly metallic like old iron. The clearing is unnervingly still. No wind moves the leaves. No creatures stir. And yet, the anticipation is palpable, as if the forest itself waits. For me, the decaying tree looms. Its hollows seem to pulse slightly. A soft, unplaceable whisper threads through the air. I take a cautious step forward. The fog swirls in response. Footsteps echo again behind me, but still no one appears. The forest presses closer. I am small within its reach. Every sense tells me it knows me. The clearing stretches. Shadows lengthen. The hum continues, fading just enough to leave the silence sharp. I move on, careful not to disturb the stillness. The hollowed tree remains. Patient, watching. Pine needles crackle beneath my boots. The forest hums faintly, almost as if holding its breath. Fog drifts between the trunks, curling around my ankles. Something moves just beyond sight. Shadows shift rhythmically, bending and stretching like they're alive. Each movement is deliberate, patient, watching. The air tastes of damp earth and resin. I breathe slowly, but the forest presses closer with every exhale. Rustling follows me, soft, constant, impossible to locate. I pause. The rustling pauses too. A branch snaps sharply. I spin. Nothing. Shapes flicker in the fog, always at the edge of vision. Gone when I try to focus. The quiet grows oppressive. I feel a presence behind me, patient and waiting. It does not move, yet I can sense its attention. A soft hum vibrates through the pine needles. The rustling rises, layering over it. Whispers press against my ears, unintelligible but urgent. The fog thickens. Shadows shift in unnatural patterns. The forest seems alive, breathing with deliberate intent. I take a careful step forward. The rustling mirrors me, close, yet unseen. Every instinct screams to run, but the forest seems to hold me in place. The needles crackle again. A fleeting silhouette darts between trunks. I blink, and it is gone. The fog coils around me, cold and damp. The hum continues, a quiet pulse beneath the earth. The presence remains behind me, constant, patient. I feel its gaze on my back. Every step I take carries the weight of unseen eyes. The shadows shift again, subtle, deliberate. I move cautiously, careful not to disturb the silence more than necessary. Rustling continues, ever patient, ever close. The forest watches, waits, and knows. The path winds onward. Shapes flicker. Shadows twist. And I cannot escape the feeling of being followed. The blood moon hangs low in the sky. Its red glow drifts through the trees, pooling on the forest floor. Shadows stretch long, trembling under the pale light. In the distance, a cabin pulses quietly. Its windows rattle, though the air is still. The forest hums faintly beneath it, low and insistent. I move closer. The smell hits me first, wet earth, iron, something older and metallic. Every step draws me forward, despite the warning in my chest. The door is closed, but I hear a growl. Low, vibrating through the ground, through the roots, through me. Not an animal, not anything natural. Shadows coil around the cabin, twisting with the moonlight. The trees lean closer, their branches groaning softly. The fog drifts, curling like smoke around the stones of the path. I pause at the edge of the clearing. The cabin seems alive, breathing slowly, deliberately. A window glints red, as if something watches from within. The air tastes faintly metallic, sharp. The growl rises, almost a whisper now, vibrating against my ribs. I swallow. My throat is dry. A branch snaps. Shadows shift in response, moving toward the cabin. I feel their intent, deliberate and patient. The path seems to narrow, fog curling thick around my legs. Each step forward hums with anticipation, pulling me closer. The moonlight pulses on the cabin like a heartbeat. I can almost see shapes in the windows. Figures frozen, waiting, watching. I blink. They vanish. The growl continues, low, vibrating. It fills the clearing, wraps around the trees, seeps into the earth. Every instinct screams to turn, but curiosity is louder. The fog drifts between the trees. The cabin seems to breathe, expanding and contracting with the pulse of the moon. Shadows twist around the corners, stretching unnaturally. I step closer. The scent of iron and damp earth grows stronger. The growl deepens, vibrating beneath my feet. The cabin waits, silent yet full of intent. The blood moon glows overhead, and I feel drawn, helpless, compelled, closer and closer. Mud softens beneath my boots. Each step sinks slightly, leaving a mark. Then I notice them, footprint behind me. Human, too large, each step deeper than natural. I glance back. They vanish. The fog coils around my ankles, damp and cold. Shadows shift between the trees, bending unnaturally. Every sense tells me I am not alone. A shape flickers at the edge of vision, gone before I can focus. The forest hums softly, like a slow, deliberate heartbeat. I take another step forward. More footprints appear. Again, deep, deliberate, unnatural. Then nothing. The ground seems alive beneath me. Roots shift. Leaves whisper under unseen weight. I feel the forest pressing close, watching silently. A flicker moves near. Too fast to catch. I do not turn. I do not want to know. The footprints vanish again. Yet the sense of being followed lingers. Soft, patient, relentless. Fog thickens, swallowing distance and sound alike. Shadows stretch and coil around the trees. The forest breathes, alive and waiting. I move on, careful, tentative. The marks behind me leave no trace. But unease settles deep into my chest. The creek lies frozen, glassy and still. A thin layer of frost clings to stones and fallen branches. The air smells faintly of wet earth, sharp and cold. Beneath the ice, faint bubbles rise slowly. A soft whimper echoes across the frozen water. Shapes move just below the surface, dark and indistinct. Fog curls along the banks, thickening, swallowing distance. Eyes watch me from somewhere unseen. The forest feels hollow, listening alive. I step closer. The ice groans softly, though there is no wind. A cold shiver races along my spine. Every sound is magnified. The snap of a twig, the crunch of frost underfoot. I hear breathing, low and irregular, beneath the hum of the creek. The fog coils, curling around my legs, dragging shadows with it. I try to move quietly. Shapes glide beneath the ice, just beyond clarity. Their gaze presses through the frozen surface. A whimper rises again, soft, almost human. The forest waits. The fog presses in, thick and damp. I step back. The creek shivers faintly. Eyes linger, watching, patient. A lantern floats in the distance. Its glow pulses, unmanned, soft, rhythmic, beckoning me forward. The fog drifts between the trees, curling around my legs. Shadows twist unnaturally in its light. Every instinct warns me to stop. I cannot. The lantern sways gently, though the air is still. Soft whispers thread to the mist, unintelligible but urgent. I move closer, drawn by curiosity. Branches scrape softly overhead. Shadows bend toward the lantern. It seems to float just out of reach. I step forward. The glow brightens, then vanishes. Silence presses in immediately. The fog curls, hiding shapes that were not there moments before. The forest hums faintly, expectant, patient. I pause, breath shallow. The lantern does not return, but its absence is heavier than its presence. I move on slowly. The fog coils, thick and damp. Shadows twist and stretch. The forest watches. A gnarled tree rises ahead, twisted and old. Its bark is cracked and hollowed. The fog clings to its base, curling like smoke. A low, mournful howl comes from the tree itself. The branches sway, though there is no wind. The sound repeats, impossible in its rhythm, pressing into my mind. Shadows coil at the base, twisting and stretching toward me. The howl rises, then falls, almost speaking my name. Each note feels deliberate, intimate, consuming. The forest hums softly around me. Branches snap lightly, as if something moves unseen. I step closer. The howl crescendos, pressing against my chest. The bark seems to breathe. Shapes flicker in the fog, twisting between the roots. I feel eyes, watching, patient, unrelenting. The howl fades, then repeats, lingering longer than natural. I take a step back. The branches sway in impossible patterns, shadows bending along them. The forest feels alive. Every sound presses into me. The tree waits. The howl waits. And I am small, alone and aware. Fog drifts low through the forest. Pairs of eyes shimmer between the trees. Silent, observing. Each blink synchronizes with my heartbeat. I stop. They stop. Shadows coil around trunks. Thick and deliberate. Mist winds around my legs. Every sense tells me the forest is alive. A soft rustle follows me relentlessly. Shapes flicker, just beyond focus. Eyes gleam pale light in the gray. The air tastes faintly metallic, damp. A low hum vibrates through the soil. The mist curls around me like searching fingers. Branches scrape overhead. Shadows bend in impossible ways, reaching toward me, then away. I am small, alone, observed. A blinking pattern emerges. Some eyes vanish, others remain. Rustling grows louder, layered with whispers I cannot understand. Something moves deliberately just beyond sight. I move slowly. The eyes follow, shimmering with the rhythm of my pulse. The forest hums. Shadows twist. The presence is constant. I am watched, patient and unrelenting. A torn tent lies collapsed among the underbrush. Its fabric flaps softly in the still air. Inside, scattered personal items hint at a sudden departure. The ground hums faintly beneath my boots. The air feels charged, thick with expectation. I move closer, careful not to disturb the quiet. Shadows curl along the tent's edges. A flicker of movement outside catches my eye. Then nothing. The forest seems to lean in. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves is magnified. I feel unseen eyes tracking my steps. The notebook lying inside is damp, pages curling. I brush my fingers across it. Words blur in the fog, half-formed thoughts of someone who vanished. The hum deepens, vibrating softly through the soil. Branches scrape lightly overhead. The fog drifts, curling around the tent like fingers. I step back, careful. The air tastes faintly of wet pine and old smoke. I move on. The tent waits. Patient, silent. A hollow opens between jagged cliffs. Fog rises from its depths, curling in lazy spirals. The air is damp, metallic, and cold. Shapes move in and out of view, fleeting and deliberate. A faint growl vibrates through the walls of stone. I feel eyes from every direction. Branches scratch against one another as I step closer. The fog thickens around my legs, hiding every landmark. The hollow seems endless, breathing alive. Every sound is amplified. The crunch of leaves, the scrape of rock. The growl rises again, low and resonant. Shadows coil along the cliff walls, twisting unnaturally. I move forward cautiously. The fog curls between my feet, rising to hide the path. Shapes flicker, gone before I can focus. The hollow hums faintly, pressing against my chest. Every instinct screams to leave, but my feet carry me deeper. The forest watches from above and below. Eyes follow from the cliffs. The hollow waits, patient, claustrophobic. A low static hum resonates through the branches. The fog coils around me, damp and heavy. Shadows twitch and pulse, bending against logic. Whispers layer over the hum, unintelligible but urgent. I feel unseen eyes tracking from multiple angles. Every nerve is taut, every step measured. A branch snaps. The fog swirls, hiding shapes that move just beyond sight. I hear soft footsteps, mirrored and deliberate. The hum rises slightly, vibrating through the forest floor. Shadows twist with it, bending unnaturally. I cannot tell which way is safe. A fleeting shape darts behind a tree, gone before I can focus. The whispers press closer, brushing my ears. The fog thickens, swallowing light and distance alike. Every sound, every breath echoes too loudly. The forest seems alive, aware of my presence. I step forward cautiously. The hum continues, low and insistent. Shadows twist. Whispers linger. I am being watched. A clearing opens in the fog. Silent, eerily still. All movement seems to pause, as if the forest itself holds its breath. The air is thick with anticipation. Each step forward feels louder than the last. Branches hang motionless, frost clinging to their tips. Something steps just beyond vision. I sense it patient, unmoving, unseen. The silence presses against me, cold and heavy. Shadows stretch long and thin. The fog curls between the trees, swallowing shapes. I feel the forest watching, waiting, breathing. A low hum vibrates beneath my boots. Every leaf, every root seems alert. The unseen presence lingers, patient and deliberate. I take a careful step forward. The fog curls tighter. Shadows coil around trunks. The silence presses in. The clearing waits. I move through it slowly. Every sense tells me I am small. Alone, observed. Dusk settles over forest. Fog drifts low, curling along roots and stones. Faint whispers thread to the gray, soft, almost understandable. Shadows gather along the trunks. Shapes form briefly, then vanish when approached. The forest hums quietly, expectant. I pause. The whispers rise slightly, fading in and out. They brush against my mind, urgent yet gentle. The air tastes faintly of pine and cold earth. Footsteps echo softly behind me. I glance back. Nothing. The fog thickens, swallowing distance. Shapes flicker at the edge of vision. I feel unseen eyes, patient and waiting. I move forward, careful. The whispers follow. The forest exhales slowly. Shadows shift, and the anticipation lingers, almost alive. The path shivers beneath my boots. Fog curls around my ankles, thick and damp. Shadows bend unnaturally, stretching toward me. Soft footsteps echo from behind. I spin. Nothing. The forest hums quietly, patient, aware. Every root, every stone seems alive beneath the mist. I step forward cautiously. Branches scrape overhead. Shapes flicker just beyond sight, gone when I turn. The air tastes faintly of wet earth and iron. The fog thickens. Shadows coil around tree trunks. The path twists, uncertain, endless. I feel the forest watching. Every breath, every heartbeat is echoed in the silence. I move forward slowly. The path shivers still, leading me deeper. A series of lanterns flicker in the fog. They sway gently, though the air is still. Each step toward them intensifies the feeling of being followed. A soft growl hums between the lights. The fog curls around my boots. Shadows stretch and bend toward the lanterns. I move closer. The glow pulses faintly, hypnotic, patient. The hum grows, vibrating beneath my feet. Branches scrape overhead. Figures or shapes shift just beyond sight. I pause. The lanterns continue swaying, beckoning. The forest watches. Eyes seem to flicker between the lights. Every breath tastes damp and metallic. Every step carries a weight I cannot place. I move on. The lanterns sway, still and patient. The growl follows softly, persistent. The fog coils around my legs. A lone swing moves in the fog. No wind blows. Its creaking is hypnotic, slow, deliberate. Shadows form around it, stretching and vanishing. A whisper calls my name, soft, deliberate, patient. I step closer, drawn despite instinct. The fog curls around the swing's ropes. The ground beneath it seems to pulse faintly, alive. Every shadow bends toward the creaking motion. Branches scrape overhead. Shapes flicker in the gray, gone before I can focus. The whisper repeats, brushing my ear. I take a careful step forward. The swing pauses, then moves again. The forest hums softly, expectant, patient. I step back slowly. The fog coils around my legs. The swing continues its motion. The whisper lingers. The trail disappears into mist. Landmarks shift as I pass. Shapes flicker just beyond vision. The forest feels endless, alive, unwelcoming. Branches twist overhead. Roots rise like obstacles, catching my boots. The fog curls thicker around me. Every sound echoes unnaturally. My own footsteps, my breath. I feel unseen eyes, patient and persistent. Shadows bend and stretch. Following me, the air tastes faintly metallic and damp. Every step forward seems harder, as if the forest resists. Shapes flicker along the edge of sight. I pause. They vanish. The trail itself seems to shift. What was once behind me now lies ahead. The forest watches silently. I move forward, swallowed by the mist. I reach the edge of the forest. Yet the eyes remain. Pale reflections glimmer in the fog. Endless, unblinking. Shadows stretch infinitely along the trees. A low hum vibrates softly through the ground. Whispers thread between branches, fading only when I leave the woods. I move slowly. Every step feels heavy. Watched. The eyes follow, always unrelenting. The fog curls around my legs. Shapes shift just beyond sight. I feel them everywhere, patient. Waiting, the forest exhales softly, a breath that presses against my chest. I step forward again, trying to leave the unease behind. But it lingers, cold, quiet, insistent. Even as I walk away, the gaze persists, watching, patient, forever.